Hi everyone, this is Matthew from the Anne Arundel County Public Schools Office of Instructional Technology. And tonight I'm wearing my conference hat because I'm here in Seattle for the NCCE conference where I have learned even more about Immersive Reader. It's been over a year since we did a tutorial on the Immersive Reader, and it has a whole lot more functions than it did then, and it's available in a lot more tools. So we thought it was time to update what we had and bring everybody else up to speed on all the amazing things that are possible with Immersive Reader. So without further ado, I'm going to go away and you're going to see Immersive Reader on your screen.
There is so much to show you here in Immersive Reader. We can jump right into it. I am using OneNote. This is actually the OneNote Windows 10 app. The tools that you will see here are the exact same tools that you will see in the online version of OneNote as well as the online version of Microsoft Word. And what's good about those last two is that means that if you're using a Chromebook, all of these resources are available to you or your students in both the online version of Word and the online version of OneNote. Okay, so here I am with just some text. This is a blog that I do occasionally, and the way you get to it is under the View tab. So here's Home, here's View. Under View, you'll see Immersive Reader. Immersive Reader has a whole bunch of different tools packed into it. The first one, the obvious one, is the reading tool, or it reads aloud. And so we'll kind of jump right into that. Click here for Read Aloud. Okay. I am recording this with the PowerPoint screen recorder, which records the microphone but not computer audio. So I'm going to crank up the computer audio to make sure you can hear. It'll probably actually be louder than me when all is said and done.
365 ideas for Office 365.
Okay. And so again, that's the basic function. That's the first thing people think of when they hear Immersive Reader is it reads things aloud. We do have some controls down here for the voice settings. You can choose between a male or a female voice, and you can change that speed. Okay, here's what the male sounds like.
Office 365. Today we're taking a field trip to a smartphone near.
All right, but that's just the beginning. I notice at the top right corner we have three icons. The first one is the text preferences. So it's important to realize that not all students who have difficulty with reading are like true dyslexia, or decoding isn't necessarily the issue or the only issue. And so there are a lot of visual components to reading as well, and that's what this text options are about. You can, of course, change the size of the text, but what comes into play for a lot of students is just the clarity of what they're seeing. So reducing visual clutter is something that I used to often see or put on IEPs, and so increasing spacing helps with that. When we went from the full OneNote page, and this is just as valid for a Word document, by going into Immersive Reader, notice there's nothing here but text. Okay, it kind of cleans up the page for you. Again, reduces visual clutter. There's three different fonts here. Two of them make A's like this. And let's scroll down and show you how they make is G, the letter G. Comic Sans, that as much as we make fun of that in our office, it really does make letters the way the students write them. So you can see the A looks the way they write them. And if I can find that G again, there we go. Makes G's the way they write them. So Comic Sans is my preferred font within Immersive Reader. And then we have color choices. On your phone, you probably have a dark theme or a night view. So that's good for anybody reading at night. And then these other colors here are what's known as Erlen colors. You may have seen kind of the low-tech version of this over the years, laying a colored transparency over a sheet of paper. A lot of research has gone into that over the decades, originally for true diagnosed dyslexics, but it's been shown to be helpful with kids with attention issues and all kinds of things. So lots of other colors available here as well, mostly just sort of calming pastels, but these first few are the actual genuine Erlen colors. All right, so that's what we have under text features. If we come over here to the grammar options, this gives us the ability to turn on or off syllables. Okay, so it breaks words into syllables. And then we can toggle on or off color coding for nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Each one is a different color. If you don't like the color, that it chooses for you. You can switch from a default color to any one of these other. There's about a dozen choices there. I'm colorblind, so it doesn't matter what we change these to. I just don't think in terms of color, so for me it's very helpful to turn the labels on. You can't have the labels on for anything that doesn't already have the colors on. So the colors come first and then the labels. All right, so that's what you get under grammar options. So you can see we're already moving away from decoding into addressing other reading issues. Then we get to the reading preferences. This one's probably my favorite. It's the line focus. So the low-tech version of this, I do all the time, just sliding a sheet of paper or an index card under whatever line I'm reading at the time. You can do this as 1, 3, or 5 lines. We're going to stick with 1 line for now, show you what it does.
The Office Lens app is available in both the App Store for iPhones and the Play Store for Android devices.
Okay, that's a little bit fast. But the 1 line that is being read is lit up. Everything else is sort of faded out. And it does continue also highlighting the individual word that's currently being read as well. So also notice that you don't visually have to track from 1 line to the next. It brings the lines up to the lighted space.
Devices. It has a number of functions. First,
and that's why it's helpful to also be able to switch to 3 lines or 5 lines, so you can sort of wean students off of that and help them to take steps towards being able to visually track down the page. Okay, picture dictionary. Now, not everything in here has a picture, but it does use BoardMaker, which if you've been around special education for long, I'm sure you've seen examples of BoardMaker. All right, so there's 3 different images for picture, 3 different images for first. Okay, no, it doesn't have an image for. So any word that it doesn't have a picture for, you can simply click on it and read that word.
No.
Right. And finally, there's translation. So this is where Immersive Reader starts to get really powerful. Is the translate feature exists in Microsoft tools outside of Immersive Reader. This is where we can combine the power of 2 different tools. And there are 68 different languages here. Yes, 68. Now that includes things like 2 different versions of Arabic and 6 different versions of Chinese and even 3 different versions of Spanish. Okay, but those differences do matter. So first I can choose to simply translate by word. When I translate by word, then when I click on here, in addition to seeing and hearing the word in English and seeing the images, I can also hear the word
Fotos.
in Spanish.
Primero.
All right, so that's translating by word. And if I like, I can even translate the entire document. It's going to take a moment to process. And now I can listen to the entire document in Spanish.
Primero, toma fotos. Lo sé, tu cámara también.
All right, let's speed that one up some.
También. Pero intenta tomar una foto de tu smartboard desde el costado de tu...
All right, once you've translated into another language, getting back and forth between the original language and the translated language is instant, so you can bounce back and forth between those as well. All right, so that's the reading tools combined with the translation tools in Office Lens. And I do want to kind of open a new page here and just show you one other piece of, I'm sorry, I said Office Lens. This is Immersive Reader. I'm going to show you one other piece of Immersive Reader, and that's the math tool. So I can pick up a pen here, and I'll start with some elementary school examples here. Now if I choose those numbers I just wrote, it works just as well with typing. First thing the math tool does is, oh, that's not correct. So we're going to fix that part. Kind of glad that happened, so we can show you how easy it is to fix. And there we go, got the numbers right. Ink to math. Now I turn it into text. All right, but that's just the beginning. Now I can find the mean, show the steps for finding the mean. Okay, and notice there were like dozens of other things I can do here, least common multiple, greatest common factor. So I could go right into Immersive Reader right here, but instead I actually want to get to something a little more complex. Oops, let's do a simple equation. We'll see if it reads that as an X or a Y. I have no actual preference. It can read it whichever way it wants. Go to the math tool. It read it as a Y. Okay, so we'll do ink to math. Now I have the ability to graph it. Okay, and as I hover over any point on the graph, it'll tell me what those coordinates are. I can insert that on the page. Right, so that's a math tool. Let's get back to Immersive Reader though. Let's say we're going to solve for x and show steps. Clearly I did not pick a real simple problem to do this with. It shows 3 different ways to do this. Let's do the quadratic formula. And now we have all of the steps for solving this problem. Okay, that's a lot of text though, a lot of words. So now I can take this math tool and use the Immersive Reader that's built in and listen to the steps.
Steps using the quadratic formula. Quadratic equations like this one, with an x squared term but no x term.
And just in case you're wondering if we can take it one more step, yes, absolutely. We can now take this fabulous math tool in the fabulous Immersive Reader tool and translate it and listen to the solution to this math problem being read aloud in 68 different languages.
Las ecuaciones cuadráticas como esta, con un término x al cuadrado, pero sin...
Right, and that's the kind of accessibility that Microsoft is working hard to make real in the classroom. The Immersive Reader itself is a fabulous tool. The math tool by itself is fabulous. The translator is fabulous. But when technology becomes exponentially powerful is when you combine the different functions. So if this wasn't all the same app, we would call this app smashing. But it's actually built into OneNote. Everything else that we looked at today you can do in Microsoft Word online. The math tool specifically is only in OneNote, although these things that tend to start in OneNote, once Microsoft kind of tests them out there and releases them to the public, it's not unusual for these accessibility tools to then go on out to other tools as well. Immersive Reader is available in Teams. It's available in Flipgrid, which is a video recording tool online that Microsoft recently purchased. It's available in Outlook, which our students don't have Outlook, so it doesn't help us much there. But just to show that once these tools have been tested and shown to be effective, Microsoft has been consistent about expanding their reach and expanding the places that you can use them in. And there is one other place that Immersive Reader exists that I can't really show you. I can't do a screen recording of it for you. But if you have an iPhone or Android, you can download the Office Lens app. And that just revolutionizes the accessibility of the Immersive Reader tool. What Office Lens does is you can take a picture of absolutely anything. Signs, textbooks, handouts, anything. Take a picture of it in Office Lens, and there's a number of things you can do with it, but one of your choices is to open that image in Immersive Reader. And it uses optical character recognition to recognize anything that's written on that page or on that sign, and it has a lot of the tools that I just showed you. You can choose a different background color, you can change the font size, you can change the text spacing, and you can have it read aloud. It doesn't have translation built in, so it's just in English, but Office Lens allows you to take anything that's not digital, take a picture of it, and take advantage of these digital tools. If you're dealing with younger kids that don't have cell phones, then you can take the picture with Office Lens and send it to OneNote or Word, and then open that image with Immersive Reader within OneNote or Word. Then share that with the students, and then again, anything that wasn't digital, you can digitize and enable them to use all of these tools with. So I hope that you will check out Immersive Reader. Again, it's in, the easiest way to get to it is Word Online or OneNote Online from OneDrive, and that's kind of your best bet, especially if you or your kids are using Chromebooks. Right, so I hope that you fall as much in love with Immersive Reader as I have and make it available to your students.